Hey guys, and welcome back to yet another episode of the Doki Doki Literature Cast, or Doki Cast. We're back, and we're here to talk about the best act in the entire game, Act 2. But before we do that, boys, how y'all doing? How have y'all been?
I've been alright.
Yeah?
I've just been hanging out mostly. What about you, Mason?
Doing great. I actually looked on the Discord because I hardly ever go to the Discord server, and someone was talking about. They said, "I bet you're gonna make a video on the ocean and space collaboration that they're doing a part 3, I guess." And it's so funny because I just made a video on that today.
That's
Look,
funny.
they're predicting you. That's right. You're giving them what they want. That's perfect.
Yep. Our server is filled with a bunch of people that love all of us, and I love all of them. We love all of them,
That's right, guys.
and the community is awesome so far. Yeah.
If you aren't a part of the Discord and you want to join it, do it. It'll be in the description down below. We talk about a lot of shenaniganery and fun stuff. Obviously DDLC, but also a couple of other horror games and visual novels and just memes. A lot of memes. Quite a few memes actually.
Lions, yeah.
But they're all good. Okay, guys. Well, let's go ahead and jump on in to our main segment, which is Act 2. If you haven't seen our last episode, which was Act 1, go check it out. We kind of broke down Act 1, talked about it in a kind of a larger overview, and we're going to do the exact same for Act 2. So, guys, Act 2 is where things start getting pretty crazy. The whole game pretty much breaks down, and we get to relive Act 1, but some things aren't quite right, which is beautiful. I think that's what really makes it a lot of fun. So my first question, I want to know, was how did y'all respond and react when Act 2 started? Like the Act 2 started, Act 1 just ended, the game reset. Like how did the opening the game back up, seeing Sayori gone and everything? How did y'all respond to that? Mason, you go first, man.
I got a lot to say on this. So first, I want to just say that felt like a complete fever dream, like, and probably the best way possible because that's pretty much what the game wanted. It felt so weird because if you played it, which spoiler warning right now, guys, if you haven't played the game, go play the game. Great game. Yeah, it's pretty similar to DDLC Act 1, other than Sayori's gone. But other than that, the characters are, well, the same. They do very similar things. It's the same days, the poem minigame. Monica kind of acts the same through most of it. But it's really where the horror game cracks start the show. I actually kind of was jump scared by a couple times. I know it's not like a big, scary jump scare like Five Nights at Freddy's, but like the glitch effects where you'll be like going through the text, and then all of a sudden there's like a, what do they call it, like screen tearing or something that kind of scared me a little bit. Overall, just very unsettling vibe. Like when it zooms into Yuri's face and it does like the sound effects. That I remember that was, I mean, it wasn't like a jump scare, but still was very unnerving, and it really kind of gives you the vibe that things are not going right. And I actually wasn't expecting Yuri's scene at the end. I knew about Sayori, but I did not expect that. And I actually don't know if I even recorded that on YouTube. I probably, if I did, I probably cut it out of the video because I was scared of the freaking YouTube hall monitors getting me for that. But yeah, that was definitely a surprise. And always, I don't know if we want to talk later on this in the podcast, but I always wondered what happened to Natsuki because they don't ever really, at least from what I can tell, it's been a long time, but I don't ever remember they definitively gave her like what happened to her. She just kind of disappeared at the end, unlike Yuri and Sayori.
She pretty much was just straight up yeeted out of the system. From my understanding, is she never had her own ending. I mean, there was the fake ending, which is pretty iconic, where her neck snaps and she runs forward to goes forward to the screen. But she never had a definitive ending, which I thought was pretty interesting. But she just straight up gets deleted, like she gets removed, which I kind of wish they would have gave her some kind of something. Which I guess is kind of terrible of me to wish like something horrible would have happened to her, but at the same time, like I wish there was a little bit more like shown of or at least would have been really cool, I think, is her being on screen when she gets deleted. and like the react,
Yeah.
like you know, like Spider-Man, Tom Holland Spider-Man from the Avengers Infinity War, when you know he gets snapped away. It's like something's not right, Mr. Stark. Imagine the same thing, but Natsuki. Like imagine that. That'd be cool.
That's a great idea.
Yeah.
What about you, man? What about you, Mark?
Well, like I said last episode, I don't remember too many details of my first playthrough, but I do know that Act 2 was scary. I liked all the glitches. I was very attentive of all the different secrets and things like that, like Sayori's image in the background, or
That's a good one.
or like it's just really weird things like the characters glitching out or having weird blackened text and everything like that, and I really, really liked it. I'm trying to think of any specific moments that stood out to me. Yuri's ending at the end was great. Now, I do have something to say about Yuri's ending, and I don't know if either of you know about this, but in Doki Doki Plus, my friend bought it, and we found out that on the PS4 and PS5 versions, it is very censored, and it looks so bad.
Very
I think we've talked about this before, but yeah, it looks so bad. The blood is black, and the particle effects are ruined. They don't even work, and it just looks so bad.
It's really interesting that we have the game on the Nintendo Switch.
I know.
Like the family friendly. So what's wild to me, which Dispatch was just recently released on Nintendo Switch, but it's the censored version. Which, granted, it's censored for a few different reasons than DDLC was. But the fact that they didn't censor that, but PlayStation did, God of War, like the home console of God of War, like yeah. My headcanon is the reason it's black blood instead of regular blood is it's actually ink from the pen that she borrowed. Yeah, there you go. It's just a lot of ink got in her blood system, and that's what it is.
Herself for the ink. Oh God,
that's funny. Yeah, that's wild. That is wild.
No, the funniest part, and my friend pointed this out, is they didn't change the CG after, so there's still blood everywhere. There's still blood on herself, and so they weren't even consistent with it. Which is just really funny to me. Now I know that that's how it is on the PS5. I don't know if it's on the PS4, but it is on PS5.
I believe it is on the. I think it's PlayStation in general. I think that's what it's like. I believe. I know. I remember making a short on it and mentioning just PlayStation, and so I think so.
Yeah.
As of now, any generation of PlayStation that's going to play the game will probably have it censored.
Actually, I do have the PS4 version. I have a PS5, not the PS5 version, but I know they have backwards compatibility. I'm sure it's the same thing with both of them.
Yeah, I'm sure. Yeah,
I would be surprised if it wasn't.
Yeah, well, I do plan on buying both copies at some point because I have a PS5, so that'd be cool to just sit there and watch both and see for myself. I'll let you guys know.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh God. Other than that, I love Monica's more candidness, being more upfront and being a bit more obvious with her intentions, or at the very least less vague. I really love the attention to detail of like the argument on day 2 between Natsuki and Yuri is at first the exact same, but then the very moment that Sayori was supposed to step in, she's not there to step in, and that's when it starts glitching out and everything starts going to crap. And well, I love that part because it kind of just shows that Sayori was a very important part of the puzzle, and they took it out.
Yeah,
and now the game's falling apart because of it.
I like
Oh,
it.
yeah.
I would have to agree. I think one thing, jumping back to the Yuri like CG at the very end of Act 2, I didn't notice this at first, but there is a continuity error in that CG when it comes to the knife used.
Yeah.
The knife that she used was not supposed to be was supposed to be like the same knife that was talked about and at the house whenever they were working on the banners and stuff. They were supposed to. It was supposed to be that knife, and then they just accidentally drew the wrong knife, which I found was really interesting. Apparently,
It's not even the same knife that she stabs herself with in the GIF animation. It's black and then it's brown on the floor, or vice versa. Can't remember, but
Never knew that.
It was something I never noticed. I never really looked at the knife at that point in time, but I'm just reading about it. I'll look it up now. There you go. While you're doing that, I'll say my reaction was really, I think, funny. I remember, and this is actually, it's on YouTube now, is it all kind of fell apart and broke and the game closed, and I'm like, oh snap. I was just basically like, oh snap. And I reopened the game, and this is the end of the stream. Because I know I ended the stream before going into Act 2 to kind of get more time into Act 2. But I opened the game up to see what would happen. And I believe, I remember opening the game up and it doing the whole beginning was like, everything seems normal. And then Sayori, who's supposed to pop up and it's not, and it glitches out and breaks. And then the text changes to, I've always walked to school alone. And I just remember being like, oh no. And it was like, I just was very funny to me. But I really liked Act 2 and all this little crazy things that could happen, like we talked about, all the game-breaking moments and everything, and I think it was just a great act in general, and I was really excited. And what I'm excited to talk about during this podcast is some of the more reactionary moments of very specific events that happen within Act 2, as well as all of our favorite glitches and whatnot. But we talked a little bit, we all know Sayori was gone. And we talk about like our reactions, like, wow, she's gone, everything's breaking down, things are crazy. But let's talk about the other characters. Now, when I say the others, I mean, I'm not talking about Monica, I'm talking about Yuri. I want to talk about Yuri and talk about Natsuki. So obviously, it even said in the game that Monica tweaked their game files. They tweaked a few things here and there and modified them to make them, well, crazy. Like their backstory's insane. So we have Yuri turning super obsessive over you, and then we have Natsuki, whose home life turned into incredibly abusive. Like we talked about how her dad would literally beat her if he found this stuff, and talks about things like that. What were your reactions to their situations kind of being set to the max? Like did it surprise you? Like what did you find like the most surprising and things like that? Mark, you go first this time.
Well, Natsuki being abused by her dad, that shocked me. I mean, yeah, it's so I'm familiar with the concept, and because of that, Natsuki's abuse with her dad resonated with me. And the way that was revealed was shocking and scary as fuck. Drake, but yeah, try not to swear here. Sorry.
What about you, Mason?
You know what? Mine was quite a bit different. I obviously caught on to Yuri because I think everyone did who finished Act 2. That was definitely a shocker, seeing Yuri going from like complete opposites, being like the shy one, like the shy anime stereotype girl who's hiding in the corner with her teen pen and everything, and then now being super overly obsessive, like all over you, like where it zooms into her face, and it's like pretty creepy. And you're kind of thinking of like what's going on with this character. She was a shy one, now she's actually going crazy. And Natsuki is actually a very interesting one. I didn't really quite understand all of it. I remember there was some scene towards like the very end of Act 2 where I think Monica mentioned something about her starving and then like going to the vending machine or something. I remember that, but I didn't really think too much of it. And it was a little bit after, especially when you play some mods. Like I think it was Exit Music, that was the one that really talked all about Natsuki and her backstory. But I really started to find out all that stuff, and it was like, it's pretty crazy hearing about all that stuff. It's like, and I've been really thinking about that stuff lately, and Natsuki's really growing on me now. Like, I know I'm a Sayori fanboy, but I got to give Natsuki some credit. She went through a lot, especially in Act 2, with like her having to hide the manga from her dad. And I even mentioned, I think in the last episode that, what was it, like she would get beaten if she didn't eat all of her
Mhm.
food or something like that. Crazy stuff, man. And definitely hearing that, I know it kind of touched and dabbled on it in Act 1, I believe, but in Act 2, it really like kind of drills down onto it and is like, this is what's happening. And that was pretty shocking.
Oh no, definitely. I would agree. I think what stuck out to me as the more interesting aspect of it was Natsuki's. Yeah, no, Yori's was like she was like obviously super obsessive. I mean, it definitely like forced you to see that. But seeing the change from like with Natsuki was very interesting to me, because in obviously in Act 1 there were like some hints at her dad being strict but not necessarily abusive, and then it's like spikes straight up into that, which I think people tend to forget that in Act 1 he's not abusive, he's just a little stricter, which I think will be really interesting to talk when we start like do character breakdowns. But
Yeah.
I wish they would have just done more, and I know that's something I've said before, and I'll probably say it again in future ones, and I know the Dan himself said he wished he did more, but man, I would like to see more official content on leaning towards if I could like just say like if they had to re-release the game again or whatever, I wish they had more scenes showing the more horrific moments in Act 2 with her. I know we do get some, I get that, it's awesome, but I just want to see it. Like I want to see more. Like
Dude, I saw, and I can't remember where it was. It was like an animatic or something. It was, I don't think it's on YouTube anymore, but it was the end of Act 2, and it was when Yuri and Natsuki got deleted, and Natsuki just started puking and ran out of the room. And it was just a scene of her just like on the sink, just like puking, and then she looks at her reflection and just sees her face just dissolving like Infinity War style. And
wow, good
she just
grief.
runs towards the door and then just becomes like this. It was again, it was an animatic, but I'm like, oh my god! Again, if it's an anime, I need a scene like that in this. Like that would be amazing.
That would be
But yeah,
epic.
if they re-release this game, like a 3D version of this game, or something like that, that would be amazing to see her actual like realize she's getting deleted or something like that.
That's actually a great way they could add on to the game. I think, like we said, anime or even a 3D game. Even though I highly doubt they'd make a 3D game. That would be so cool, though. I know I'd have play like those Roblox DDL. They're not exactly the same though. They went like completely in the loony bin at some point.
Yeah.
I made a video about that like a really long time ago, but
Doki Doki 3D, make it happen.
Look,
yeah,
I'll say I made a video talking about like the future of DLC after the release of the mobile port. Y'all be surprised at how many people want a VR port of DDLC.
I've got that too.
And let's be honest, we all know why they want a VR port. And I'm not going to explain that to those watching at home. You can use your imaginations. But
yeah, no, sorry, 8. There are 8 reasons why. I mean, you can make your imaginations. Yes.
But I think that would be definitely super interesting. Like I thought the side stories are cool and all, but as a guy who really likes the horror aspect, I would love to see more of that. Like if that had to be a thing. Obviously, I'd rather have just a new game. But if for some reason they just keep milking the DDLC just like IP, then I think that'd be a smart move to do.
I want to see the girls come to like Fortnite or Smash. Or
I keep seeing that on Twitter. I feel like I make another video on that like every year. It seems.
Yeah.
Let's
another
be
one.
real though. Like I wouldn't be surprised if they ended up in Fortnite. Like I really wouldn't. Like,
Everything's in Fortnite.
They got the Hex girls, whatever they're called, from K-pop Demon Hunters.
They do.
the K-pop Demon Hunter girls. Yeah.
I don't think they're called Hex girls, but they're the 3 main girls from that movie, which is a good movie, by the way. I recommend it to people.
That's not surprised. I would not be shocked. Like that would not surprise me in the slightest. Okay, well, so let's talk a little bit about kind of more in specific favorite moments of the game. I know we mentioned some of the game breaking moments we really really liked, but if you had to pick one that just was your absolute favorite, like you was like, whoa, that was like that one stuck with you. That one was just like that was just either it was mind boggling, it was really cool. What would you pick? Mason, you first.
There's a couple of them. I don't know if I can pick a specific favorite. These are just ones that kind of really stuck out. I guess they're kind of key moments, I guess. Mark, I know you brought up the fighting scene between Yuri and Natsuki where, instead of Sayori cutting in, it just keeps going and it gets even bigger than it did before. Really think that's interesting how they handled that. They could have just kind of cut it off like Monica did. Like Monica just goes in there and cuts it off, but instead it escalates, which I think is crazy. I think a lot of the Yuri moments, like where you write the poems and Yuri talks about it, is kind of interesting because it's just unsettling and it really builds up tension leading to the end of Act 2. Not really any specific moment. I guess it could really be anything. I think a lot of the glitches are also just kind of unsettling too, like the Natsuki eyeball one. I think that one's kind of iconic in DDLC history.
Mm-hmm.
And well, there was another one I was thinking of. Actually, I can't think of it.
What about you, Mark? Then
I'm actually looking at a website right now trying to find the exact dialogue of when this happened.
there you go.
But there is, there is here. You can cut out this dead air for a second. Wi-Fi. Give me 1 second.
Oh, you're all good, man.
Okay, so it's at the beginning of day 4, I believe. It's either day 3 or day 4 of the Act 2, and I don't know if it's the Natsuki route or Yuri route. I think it's just the Yuri route, but it's when Monica decides, you know what, I'm just gonna walk up to Player and tell him, we're hanging out whether you like it or not. Let's hang out. I have something planned for us to do. And Yuri's like, no, we have a book that we're reading together, which I guess that means it's the Yuri route. And Monica has this moment where she says, actually, it doesn't matter. It really doesn't. And you guys can do whatever you want. And she becomes completely blank and just shuts down. And then later that same day, she has what you can assume is performative, but is also, I like to think, really happening in her mind, is when Natsuki and Yuri are both like, we don't care about the festival, Monica. And Monica actually sits down and she's like, what are we even doing? Why did you come here, Player? What does any of this matter at all? And she's actually having a moment where she realizes that the other characters don't care either. I don't care, but they don't either. What the frick is the point anyway? I really liked those two scenes. I'm sorry I picked two.
You're good.
I cheated, but those are my two scenes because to me it shows a build-up of Monica trying her best to not have to do another Sayori. But she kept failing, and unfortunately she just decided, fuck it all. I just decided screw it all, and yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, no. There you go. I think my favorite one was the moment. I think it happens kind of suddenly, out of the sudden, with the screen turns red, and you can kind of hear like this, like what's a good word for it? I'm not muted, but like struggled breathing in the background, and the screen is swaying a little bit, and that's representing what Sayori was seeing at the end of Act 1. And it happens. It's one of the rare things that can pop up, and you might have to play it a couple times to see it. But I think it's one of the most unnerving ones because it's like showing her. I mean, just hanging there, and like with like her bloodshot eyes, and you can hear her breathing, struggling, and I think that's just. I think that was the most unnerving, which made it the most interesting to me.
Yeah.
Of course, the honorable mention in my book would be the Yuri's Blood and Pee poem. That was very
Oh, I remember that one.
That was
unique.
interesting.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Can I share something about this?
Yeah.
Dude, so this was even before I played Doki Doki. This was probably a couple months before. Somehow my younger sister found out that I knew about the game, or maybe this was like right after I played the game. And she specifically mentioned that poem. She said, I don't even know if she knew who the character was, bro. But she mentioned one of them peed on the poem. And I'm like, what? That's
Yeah. Okay.
It's just a goofy game or a horror game. And then I found it. I'm like, oh, yep, she was right. How she know more about this game than I do? I make YouTube videos about it.
That's funny. That's crazy. Did y'all know that so obviously the poem's gibberish, right? But did you know that people actually translated the poem?
No.
Most of it is still gibberish, but at the very end, it's like an excerpt from some short story that Dan wrote a long time ago, and it's very weird. I made a short on it. I actually made two. I made it when I first started doing it, and then I made I called it a Doki Doki Did You Know Plus version where I had somebody voice act Yuri reading it. It is so crazy. It's talking about like it's just a lot. I can't even like talk about it. It's just it gets so weird and dark, and it's just like what's happening right now. And it's just crazy. I think that's my honorable mention for the good old Blood and Pee poem that came out of left field. Okay, so here's a question, and it kind of got mentioned a little bit already. But Act 1, we obviously had many different routes. Like, we could literally go straight Saori, straight Yuri, straight Natsuki. We could do Saori, Natsuki, Yuri. We could do Yuri, Saori. We could do, there's a crazy amount of combinations that we could do. But in Act 2, it forces you to go down a specific route, whether you choose to or not. And that, no matter what, you will always have to go to 2 of Yuri's CGs, whether you actually do a Yuri poem or not. Did y'all notice that at first? Or like, and if you did, what was your reaction? Or like, kind of, what did you about all of that? Mark, go ahead.
So when I first played, I went for Yuri on that too. And then when I played it again, I went for Natsuki, and I did think I did something wrong, or like I screwed up, and on day 2 of Act 2, so I rewound, and it kept doing it. But I did realize something as I was trying to do Natsuki. The dialogue is different. Natsuki has different dialogue with you if you chose her or not. She's a lot more upset with you, a lot more sad if you didn't choose when you choose her that you're not with her, which I find very intriguing. But yeah, at first I did think I actually screwed up or something because I was so confused. Yeah.
What about you, Mason?
Actually, I didn't even know there were routes when I first played. So I know I got Yuri because I remember there was a lot of Yuri stuff, like the scary stuff in there. I actually don't really remember anything about Natsuki, to be honest.
Oh, no.
So I don't know if I really have much to say about that. Kind of disrespect Natsuki
there. That's funny. I think I mentioned something during my playthrough. Like, that's weird. I thought I had enough words for Natsuki when I did it, and I believe I mentioned it, but like it went for like during the Euro route. So I was like, huh, that's really weird. I thought I did this, but I kind of didn't think too much about it. But I definitely like it's definitely sneaky, and it's definitely crazy how you will always see the like the 2 Yuri CGs, one where y'all are reading the book at the desk, and then one with the like you feed her the chocolate. Those 2 particular scenes. And what I also find really interesting is if you do try to do like a perfect Yuri run during Act 2, it'll repeat it'll basically repeat the scene like on day 2 and day 3. But day 3, it gets a little bit weirder. And if I remember correctly, and correct me in the comments below if I'm not, but I actually think you see a brief sprite of Yuri with her arms cut in the second rendition of the repeated one. Like, it basically makes everything does, like, if I remember correctly, and it's been a minute, so I might be wrong, but it rewinds everything, and as it's rewinding, she pops up on the screen with, like, her screaming looking face, and you see the arms for a moment. I think that's the case. I don't think I dreamed that. I think that really happened, but I found that very interesting as well with Act 2.
So, Tanner, you were half correct. And by that I mean you're correct in one regard. And it does happen. That happens on day 2. What happens is if you go Yuri, it happens twice. And when it happens twice, the second time it does jump scare you with her.
That's right,
really close. And then she starts talking to you, and she has her sleeves down by then. And then she's like, I don't know what's happening. And then Monica slowly appears over her. So that is true. It does happen.
Yeah, I remembered something like that. Like, I couldn't remember the exact specifics, but I knew something like that was going on during the later half of Act 2, or the later.
My other dog is here.
Hey, look at that! Because now it's not a dog at the end; it's a dog in the middle. Heck yeah!
I know. Maybe next time I'll start with one on the beginning.
Look.
That's a good idea.
I'm not saying we're expecting it, but we're all expecting it. Everybody.
I have 3, so
there you go.
It would only make sense.
Chat, I need you to riot. If we gotta just keep asking for the dog no matter what.
Yep.
So here's my next question to y'all, and this is probably lesser known to a lot of people. Did y'all try to cheat Sayori back into the game?
Oh, that's a good one.
I did not. I didn't even think about it until I started doing research.
I did on my second run. I remember it was really funny because all of a sudden it went black. I'm trying to cheat. You're so silly, player. And I'm just like,
so
Dad accounted for this. Oh no!
For those of you who don't know, is obviously this only works on PC. You can't do this for Plus. At least I don't think you can do it for Plus. If you basically take the Sayori character file and copy it and paste it somewhere else, away from the DDLC files, and then once Act 1 ends and all that craziness happens and Act 2 begins, if you take that and move the file back into the game, Monica will basically, as you restart it, show up and basically say, "Are you trying to cheat?" And she'll get really mad. And it's a very, I feel like it's a very, I don't want to say rare because it's like you could make it, but not a lot of people know about it, which I think is really cool.
Yeah.
And
It's a mid-tier iceberg situation where, like a Doki Doki iceberg of glitches, it would be a mid-tier, not a glitch, but secret.
Yeah,
or whatever.
secret. Yeah. I think I do think it was an interesting one. I was glad to learn about it, and I'm not sure if it does the same thing. And this is another one for chat in the comments. If you take like an actual save file, like a save file, and do it, it might do that, but I don't remember for sure. And I'll also go ahead and do an honorable mention. You could also do the same thing with Monica's character file, and from Act 2 into Act 4. Act 2, Act 3, into Act 4. You can actually save hers and try to reinsert it in at Act 4. And something special does happen if you do that. But I think that's super cool. I really do. I kind of wish something would happen if you did did that to Yuri and Natsuki too. But nothing even happens even if you delete their files. Nothing happens. Like also, this is kind of like, I guess you may or may not know, you can actually delete the files, both Sayori's and Monica's, early, and something will happen. I won't say what for those of you who don't know, so you can go do it yourself or look it up. But something will happen if you delete them early. But if you delete Natsuki and Yuri, nothing at all happens, which I kind of wish something would have happened. I think that would have been interesting at least.
They're just reenacting Sayori and Monica trying to fight over the player. Sorry about that. Anyway, I thought it was cute.
There you go.
They hardly ever play like that, so it's cute when it happens.
Look, that's
So.
right. You know, you could even say it's like, yeah, the larger dog could be Yuri and the smaller one could be Natsuki. It could be that fight
Yep.
during Act 2, guys. That's what it could be.
Yeah.
So, go ahead.
Go ahead.
No, you first, man.
I was just gonna say, one other glitch that I really, really, really want to bring up is the very realistic Natsuki mouth glitch.
I know that one.
And she just says a bunch of random words. I'm looking at the words right now. Only blind sight, lifeline, and offered. Those are the only three I recognize. Everything else is sailcloth and then I don't know. I don't know.
I think it's just all gibberish. I don't think it's ever been translated or like decoded in any way. At least I've not seen anything decoded. So
Yeah, that's really interesting. Oh, also, Yuri's eye floating.
oh,
It's
yeah.
not even a rare chance of it happening. It always happens, but people are usually clicking too fast to notice. If you there's a certain point in Act 2 where if you sit there and you let it sit for a while, it'll drift off. Now, fun story, well, not really a story, fact. You alright, Mason?
My camera stopped working, bro. I gotta get back on. Don't worry, I'll be back in a minute.
It's all good. But so the wiki says that Yuri's eye can drift all the way off screen. I can't verify that. Because I have never once seen a video doing that. Tanner or Mason, what if you guys can make a video on this if you guys figure this out? But like I literally one day kept the frame there as it was drifting, and I just went up to eat lunch. I went out to McDonald's or whatever, and I came back an hour later, and the eye was still next to her face. It hadn't moved since it went to a certain point. So like I don't know if after like 2 hours it'll keep drifting. I don't know if it's random. I don't know, but for some reason the wiki says it drifts all the way off camera, and that's not.
I remember reading that on the wiki, and I remember when I played it, I saw the eye move, and it got. I feel like it got somewhat a good bit far away from her face, but I don't remember.
It doesn't, at least for me, it never went off the screen. If anyone in the comments can get footage of that, I would love to see it.
It could also just slow down the closer it gets to the end of the screen. One thing on that note that would be really cool, I think. So I played this game recently. It was this like really short free horror game on Steam called Pocket Date. Really good game, has a bunch of endings, a really interesting story. Highly suggest it to anyone who likes DDLC. In fact, there's a DDLC reference in it. There's actually a few different visual novel references in it, but it references DDLC during it, and it was really funny. Like I remember catching it and calling it out. I'm like, wait a minute. Anyways, at one point in time during that game, the main character, the female character, basically stops and starts freaking out and saying, what is that? It's coming. What's going on? And I looked over to my right, because I have two screens. I have the one that's right here in front of me and one over here to my right. And I glanced over to my right because that's where the chat was during the stream, and there was a distorted, weird sprite of the character slowly moving across that screen all the way onto this screen. What I think would be really cool is if the eye does drift off screen, is if you do have two monitors up, if the eye will keep going across the second monitor all the way to the end, would actually be. I kind of gotta know now.
That would blow my mind. Oh my goodness, I gotta know too. That would be amazing. Ooh. There's also some glitches. For example, Sayori's face appearing multiple times. I'll send you the file for this one. Sayori's face appearing all glitched and distorted. Is only a 6.25% chance of it happening. I remember I was just randomly going through it the other day, getting footage for the Monica Act 3 video, and it happened, and I was like, I was so excited. It was really funny, and of course, I'm just scrolling through this. I love Yuri's breaking and just. My friends said hump to each other, but they're hitting into each other. And I love when she becomes a demon with snake eyes. That's great.
Dragon Yuri. That's when people don't
Dragon
always
Yuri.
recognize either. That one's a blink and you miss it. That's a blink and you miss it one.
Really, really, really fast when it happens. Yep.
That's
Same thing with I call it albino Monica, even though it's not really albino. It's just her face is weird and a little glitch on the right. But yeah, she looks like an alien or something. Her eyes are big. What do you guys think of the secret poems? Does anybody have any favorite secret poems or any interesting stories about them?
Actually, what do you mean secret poems? Do you just mean like any of like the weird poems that you get like
Any of the random ones between days, yeah.
Actually I do kind of have a funny story. Probably not my favorite one. Least favorite one. I think I actually brought this up. I got age restricted because I made an entire video where I talked about all the poems in the game, and there was one poem that had a tiny drop of blood on it. And just because of that tiny drop of blood, which was on the screen for 3 seconds, the entire video got age restricted.
wow.
And ever since then, I've been really giving that one a side eye, man. It's like,
I think I know the one you're talking about. That's
I think it's from Yuri.
really sad if that's how.
Yeah.
What the heck? That's weird.
I did get it appealed though.
Good. YouTube, they're sometimes the way they like age restrict stuff is wild. But like that's crazy. I think my favorite, and it's become favorite recently, is the secret poem that is basically the Happy Thoughts variant.
Oh,
so
I remember.
obviously, and I actually made a short on this because a viewer asked me to recently. So obviously, if, in the end of Act 1, like if you go to the files, you can see an image file called happythoughts.png, and if you open it, it's this distorted childlike drawing of Sayori. Well, there's a secret poem where it's that drawing but not distorted. It's like a stick figure body, the Sayori drawing head, and it's hanging, and the words happy thoughts, happy thoughts, happy thoughts. And what's interesting is that secret poem is you'll get it like a normal one, but you don't unlock it in DDLC Plus on like the little as an unlockable on like the extra stuff, like whether you can see all the CGs and all the different poems you can unlock, all the backgrounds, all the art.
I remember that. You say that. I remember that now.
Some reason it does not unlock, and I found that super interesting. And in fact, if you look at it too on that drawing, if you look at Sayori's hands, which are like little fists, they're all bloody because she is like it's turning her out trying to pull it down. It's so crazy and dark, and I think that's my favorite. I don't know if we can consider it.
That might be why it doesn't show up. It might have been some sort of there might be some sort of there might be like some sort of ESVR rating thing where you
I have no
can't
idea.
have a wallpaper of a hanging character or something. Who knows?
But that's my favorite. Absolutely.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that one's great. For me, my favorite is Papa. Just what I like about Papa, and it just shows that Natsuki used to get along with her dad, and then over time things changed.
And I think that definitely shows the darker side of what messing with that story, and I think that proves it so that he wasn't he was obviously strict in the first one, but he wasn't like some crazy abusive one, which a lot of people really like making him be in like mods and stuff.
Yeah.
I see that Mark, you posted the intro texts in the in our little Discord thing. I guess that you want to talk about that. So tell me, Mark, which is your favorite intro text? And when I say intro text, viewers chat, that's the thing when the game first pops up. It basically will have an Act 2, a random sentence that can be kind of weird to really creepy to sometimes absolutely just normal. So tell me, which one's your favorite? Which one's
My
your favorite?
favorite's gotta be, this game is not suitable for children or those who are easily dismembered. It's just a couple of letters that are different, and it just changes the entire meaning of the sentence, and I love it. It's gotta be my favorite one.
I like that too. What about you, Mason? What's your favorite?
Actually just took a look at it. I saw you post on Discord. Let's see. It was only partially your fault. That one kind of stands out in a bunch.
Yeah.
Is that like supposed to be a reference to like the whole icon fixture type thing?
I think so. I think that's referencing the thing with Sayori. That's how I'm taking it, and that's why it's my favorite too. Because I'm like, that's dark.
Yeah.
And of course, my favorite meme one is PM died for this. Which, if you didn't know, PM is a Smash Bros. Melee mod or Melee or Brawl. I don't know. It's a mod for Smash Bros. And it was called Project M, I believe. And it was something that Dan Zavato was working on, but he stopped when it came to this. And I'm pretty sure I Have Granted Kids to Hell is a reference to a Wario game. I could be wrong. Somebody correct me if I am. But those are fun. I love seeing random comments from people like, I just got this one and it's I screamed, and I'm like, yeah, those are weird. It's
That's actually crazy how many references Dan Salvato put in the game to just other projects he's worked on. Like, I really liked how you what were we talking about earlier? You mentioned it was a reference to a short story.
Oh yeah, his short story, the translated Yuri poem.
I gotta look into that. That's so interesting.
I'll send you the translate. I'll try to find the translated image I used and like that talks about it. I'll find it somewhere and send it over. But it's crazy. It's all so crazy. A lot of detail and love was put into the game, which is awesome. It really is awesome.
Okay, so I'm looking at it now. It's not just I Have Granted My Kids to Hell. That I Have Granted Kids to Hell, it's worse. So, okay, let me send you guys a couple of screenshots here. If you guys want to look at this, let me send you a link. It is actually referencing a controversy. I've actually heard of this before. It's Super Mario. You were correct. It's from a Wario game. It's a reference to an urban legend involving Ashley's theme from WarioWare Touch. And this apparently this theme, if you run it fast enough, it sounds like people saying, I have granted kids to hell.
Weird.
And it's very, very interesting. I've heard this before. I never knew that was the connection. But yeah.
Huh.
I mean, yeah. Well, there's a new video for both of you. I'll see if I can find a short video discussing it if you guys want.
That's
like
fun.
A visual or to hear the audio.
I actually might make a short out of that. That's I didn't realize that's what the heck, Wario. I mean, it's Wario.
Yeah,
so.
That's insanity. So I'm gonna listen to that right now.
That's okay.
We gotta test this right now.
Yeah, I know. Like I knew it was some kind of reference, but I didn't know it was I didn't know what. That's for sure.
Did it say what speed it was? It sped up or slowed down? I was saying sped up.
So just type in Ashley's theme. I have granted kids to hell. Just type that in, and you'll find it.
Snap. Well, there you go. If you didn't know about that, then you know it now, and you can look that up and have fun sleeping tonight.
Yeah.
Interesting. That's the cool thing is I you gotta respect the amount of effort that was just slapped into the minor details. And like you mentioned it earlier, that Mark, that there's always specific chances for some of these things to happen, and you could literally play the game multiple times and still not see everything, which I think was awesome. I remember I played the game through a few times trying to see and get footage of all these things, and it's so crazy how like you can still miss these little things. The one other thing I want to talk about that I really liked about Act 2 is a random glitch. Not random glitch, but a random event was talking about during the poem game, and you know you can see the little chibis of them jumping when you pick their name. The one where Yuri's chibi transforms into the creepy face with
I remember.
so there's that, but not a lot of people know this, but there's a second Yuri chibi like glitch or Easter egg that can happen. But instead in this one, all that changes is her sleeves are rolled up and you can see little cut marks on her arms of the chibi. That one is super hard to notice at first unless you're really paying attention, but it does happen. You can look it up. I think that you can find them on the DDLC wiki, I'm pretty sure, but I think that's a really cool one too. Well, okay, guys. Anything else on Act 2? Like, Act 2 in general has so many different things and really just literally is one of the most... I know, yes, Act 1 is a great story. It really helps us, like, understand these characters. But there's so many iconic moments, which I think really makes DDLC shine, of it just kind of hitting home where it wants to, where it's just making things twisted. It's twisting up this story. It's throwing in references here and there. It's even poking fun at some classic visual novel stereotypes here and there, and I think that's what really makes it so unique and so just special to the DLC fan base. But what about y'all? Like overall, just thinking of DDLC Act 2, when it comes to the overarching story of DLC, like what are your thoughts on it? Mason, you go ahead. You first.
I feel like I mentioned this some point. I just made a video on the channel about r/DDLC.
Mm-hmm.
Forgot that place even exists on Reddit, but I saw some it was a post. It was like the ending we deserve, and it was like it was something to say or like before Act 1. And my big thing is it's pretty heartbreaking to see all of the characters go, or either in Act 1 or Act 2. But it had to happen, man. If it didn't happen, I don't think any of us would be here today, because DDLC would have just been another throwaway visual novel game that is full of tropes. And because it did that, it shocked everybody. It was crazy. It was, I don't really want to say it's 100% new, because again, other games have done that. I don't know if it was in the first episode where we talked about Yumi and her love story.
Yep.
But it really caught everyone. I'm kind of surprised that one didn't really seem to see as much attention, even though it inspired DDLC. But it had to happen. All these things did, and that's my big takeaway.
I think when it comes to DDLC versus Yumi and her, I think what was really interesting is Yumi and her is a very dark and very depressing and very just disturbing story that is it's very serious about the whole thing. And what's interesting about DDLC is it hits on these dark subject matters. It hits on these other things. But I remember Dan mentioning that he really wanted to just poke fun at the absurdity of visual novels. And I think that's what really separates the two, is how DDLC's playing up the absurdism of the visual novels, where these things do happen in Yumi and her, but they're done so different. They're done differently. The game breaking, spoiler alert, game breaking moments are done to where one is it's hard to explain. They just hit in different ways, which is why I think DDLC just hit harder. Also, I think Yumi and her is a lot longer than DDLC, which we'll probably talk about this if we ever cover this game. It's a lot longer, and you have to go through certain endings to see the insanity, which is probably why a lot of people DLC didn't take off because DLC is pretty short. I think I love seeing a random comment. It's like, I don't get why people like the game. It's only 5 hours long, but like it sticks with you. It really does. But what about you, Mark? About Act 2 in general, just the overarching idea, the concepts, everything. Like, what are your kind of thoughts and feelings towards it?
I love it. I think it's a beautiful way to show Monica's slow dip into madness, even though we're watching Yuri slowly dip into madness, but what it's really about is Monica becoming mad and angry and crazy and everything like that. And I really love it, and I love how meta it can get. I love how personal it gets sometimes. Yeah, I really liked it.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. It's
Solid 10 out of 10.
It is. It really is what I think. Like you said, Mason, it's what defined DDLC. Yeah, Act 1's great, but Act 1, I don't think Act 1. If it was just Act 1, if it was just that game, I don't think it would have caught on nearly as much as it did with Act 2, Act 3, Act 4. And I think that's what makes it special. I think the fact that it's aware of itself, it's all these things is what makes it just unique enough to where people really like it. And of course the characters themselves, they also hook people too. But I think Act 2 really brought the game to life, and really kind of just shown in a very special way. But guys, that's going to be kind of that. We're coming up on our time for talking about Act 2. I hope y'all enjoyed watching it. What are your thoughts? I know we haven't really asked many questions, I realize, to the chat. Chat, what are your thoughts on Act 2? Tell us, what are your favorite moments? What are your favorite glitches? What was your first gut reaction to just the pure insanity? Just tell us how you think Act 2 impacted the game and the community, and just gaming in general. Let us know all of it down in the comments below. And like always, guys, it's been a pleasure. It's been great talking about it. Our next episode is going to be wrapping up the base game. Talking about both Act 3 and 4, because they're both a lot shorter compared to Acts 1 and 2, obviously. But we'll be talking about that, and we're wrapping it up, and that's going to be kind of coming to a close on I would say, like the intro, the beginning of the podcasting of this, the Doki Doki Literature Cast. And that's really exciting. I'm not only excited to talk about that, but also start diving deep into the nitty-gritty, the finer details, the pixels, the drops of blood that get you demonetized, like those little things here, and having special guests. Yeah.
Thanks for that.
That's gonna be real fun. We have a lot of people who are interested. We have a lot of people who are lined up so far. In fact, if you are interested and like you really love DDLC, you're a DDLC artist, mod maker, cosplayer, animator, anything, let us know in the comments and join our Discord if you can. That's the best way to get in contact with us. And yeah, guys, this has been the episode 2 of the Doki Doki Literature Cast. And we'll see you in the next one. Y'all have a good one.
See you.